Hello, this is Nitin Dahad with the Times. I'm talking to Mike Masci, who's a VP of products for the Edge group at Intel. Have I got that right?
You did, thank you,
Okay.
Nitin.
Mike, hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Perfect, thank you. Well, we're here at near Intel's fabs in Chandler, Arizona, and we've been talking about the new Panther Lake launch. And Mike is going to talk a little bit about what that means for the edge market. So tell me a little bit about Panther Lake and relevance to the edge market.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, and thank you for being here. I think Panther Lake is a moment for Edge that has been brewing for a lot of years. And so as we look at Edge, Intel's been in the Edge for decades, right? We've been driving compute into new use cases and form factors that have never been there before, from retail to manufacturing to smart cities. Really, Intel has been a presence in Edge for decades. And as I look
is
at
that the Core Ultra, in the current generation?
In the current generation, most of what we're selling is actually core products.
Yeah.
And so as we look at Panther Lake, this is the first time ever that we've had the amount of AI processing integrated into a low power SoC that could be deployed into rugged applications unique for the edge. And so as we look at Panther Lake with almost 200 TOPS, as we look at Panther Lake with the ability to support extended temperature, et cetera, it's going to deploy AI into edge use cases that have never been there before.
No. Okay, so let's just drill that down a little bit. So architecturally, what have we got in Panther Lake that it's a SoC on 18A process here at Fab 52. Give us a little bit of the lowdown on why those features are relevant.
Yeah, so the first thing is that if you look at the edge, the use cases and the environments that the edge really has to operate within are highly constrained when it comes to physical space as well as power. And so as you look at the 18A process with its innovations when it comes to performance per watt and power, what's really disruptive about this is that you can fit more compute and more AI into the same amount of power for these constrained edge form factors. So Panther Lake not only has great performance per watt, but it actually has optimized integrated AI acceleration, specifically the CPU, a GPU, and an NPU, each of which can be used to optimize for your AI performance at the edge.
And that's been enabled just because of what you've been able to do with the technology, but also you've got, there's the connects and everything, what is it, Foveros?
Foveros, yes.
Foveros, so you're using all of your technology now in that processor.
Exactly.
In that core.
Yeah, so it's not just the fact that 18A is amazing when it comes to performance per watt for all these different accelerators, but it's the idea that for diverse edge use cases, you can actually have different configurations where, say if you want more I/O or if you want more AI processing, we have different configurations which are easily done with our advanced packaging and disaggregated technology.
Now, what's the path for your customers to deploy Panther Lake in their edge devices? Just give us a little bit of an idea of both existing customers but also new customers.
Yeah, sure. And we're really excited about this factor. So today they may be buying, say, our 12th generation, 13th generation, or 14th generation core processors, which have defined power envelopes. And then we come with Panther Lake and we have amazing CPU performance. We have a significant improvement in our AI processing, almost double from prior generation, and versus some of our core processors, 10x the amount of performance. Now, that's all great in terms of performance levels, but what about those environments that we talked about before? We're actually keeping a consistent power level from where they are today with their existing core processors while delivering significantly improved performance with 18A. So what that means is you don't have to compromise on any of your environments or form factors, and you can get AI processing that you've never had before in our core products.
Now, one of the key things for Edge, I think, vision is embedded vision is the big thing, and it's going to be for the next couple of years at least, I guess. But there's something specific about the ISP capability for Panther Lake, isn't there?
Yeah.
That helps that.
Yeah, so as you look at really the killer app of Edge, and Edge AI has really been around even before the moment of ChatGPT, so to speak, in computer vision models. So as you look at computer vision, the key input is to get video processing into the CPU. And one of the biggest advantages that we have is that we have a very mature stack when it comes to our video decoding. So what that means is we're taking it from existing standards and we're decoding those streams for them to be able to be analyzed for AI. The other thing that we're able to do with our advanced image processing unit, our IPU, and that's integrated inside of Panther Lake, is that we can directly take images from high resolution cameras, and we can actually decode and process that video with low latency. And so what that means is for applications like robotics or applications like video AI processing for smart cities, effectively we can be faster with lower latency and higher throughput.
And I think you talked also about software suites. I mean, obviously you can't do the hardware alone. You need. So tell me a little bit about what that's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So the key and what's holding back Edge AI is they needed a performant hardware that fit within their environments, use cases, and envelopes. Panther Lake is solving that problem. Check. Well, now, how do you deploy software for so many different diverse edge use cases and industries that we have? We have over 100 different device categories, for example.
Right.
And so really what we did is work with our industry ecosystem partners and our ISVs to work on what we call AI suites. So think of them as almost starter kits for AI, where we have optimized models, we have libraries, we have unique operating systems, we have sample applications, we have dimensioned benchmarks. And so we put this all together in an easy package, so it gets developers basically started with how do I take Panther Lake and how do I adopt it for my individual vertical or industry specific use case. So we have 3 AI suites that we have launched.
Okay.
We have one AI suite for manufacturing and industrial. We have one AI suite that we call Metro, the AI suite, which is for smart cities.
Okay.
And then we have a retail suite. And then at this event, we're actually announcing that we're launching a robotics and humanoid AI suite, which is going to help speed developer time to market.
My coach driver, when we went on the Fab tour, was asking about why can't we have more humanoid robotics? And he asked from a totally non-technical point of view, so that they can clean the windows, extend their arms and clean the windows. But you know, in terms of like that kind of application, do you see a lot more of that happening?
We do, right? It's in the very early days, though, of robotics and humanoids, and so you know, it's both a hardware problem, a software problem, and also an industry maturity problem. And so, you know, to us, Panther Lake is actually one of the first moments for the industry where you can get high amounts of AI performance in a low power SoC. And why that matters is, you know, humanoids have to be battery operated, right? So they really care about the performance per watt and being optimized. And then at the same token, you have to make sure that you can do things, for example, like imitation learning, right? So how do you teach a humanoid? Can you just type instructions to it? It's like, no, that's not the point of robotics, right? The point of robotics and humanoid is that it needs to be able to watch you do something, it needs to learn, and then it needs to be able to act on its own to do that.
It's like training the LLMs, isn't it? Just
same idea, but imagine just doing it on an individual scale.
Exactly. AI suites, how does your customer access them? Do they sign up? Is it on the website? Is it open? Or?
We do have this. They're available through our GitHub, and they're also available through our industry solution builders websites, and they are open and available. It's free to use. It's open source software, and so we're really trying to build an open community around AI, and we're trying to speed the development of and make it just easier for people to design AI with Intel.
And now, what we heard from your presentations is that Panther Lake, you've been churning it out from the fab here in Arizona as well as in Hillsborough since early this year. So I think the applications are the suites you've actually just talked about, which is industrial automation and smart cities and retail. But how is that progressing, and when do we expect your customers to go into? I know it's edge, but some kind of volume production.
Yeah, I'll give you a good tidbit, by the way. Our Intel factories are actually running AI applications using Panther Lake. So the irony of the place that's producing is actually
it's
using.
cyclical.
Yes, it's the flywheel. It's the cyclical. But to your question of when are we going to see and when is it going to ramp? We will be launching at CES this year for Panther Lake. At the same time, we have a
CES 2026.
Yes, CES 2026.
Yes.
Sorry, not this year.
Yes.
And so we will see a number of edge use cases and applications which we will demonstrate at CES. We have a number of launch partners that we are working with actively that have these diverse use cases that you mentioned before.
Yeah.
And we expect Panther Lake to be a very successful product for us in Edge.
What do you see the big challenges that your customers are having right now in the edge? I guess the one is always security, but I mean we're not talking about security here. But what are the big challenges you're seeing with your customers?
Yeah, I think top of mind for them is operational efficiency and how they actually become profitable, right? And so, as they look at solutions for AI, they're not just thinking about, how do I save money on the hardware? They're also thinking about how do I save operational costs? So oftentimes in the edge industry, we talk about truck rolls. You've probably also heard about that in telecommunications. It is extremely expensive to have to send somebody to go fix something. And so they look at our solutions and they look at something like Panther Lake and go, hey, what about our vPro and our manageability solutions? What if I don't have to send a tech out to reset a system?
Okay.
What if I don't have to send somebody out to deal with a system that's down because I need something that has high reliability?
Right.
That's an absolute value proposition. And then the other one is, as you look at these edge use cases and applications, they're not all trying to replace humans, right? It's not the Skynet, it's not things being taken over. What they're really trying to do is make their existing workers more productive and to really help their existing workers. And so a lot of our use cases and applications that they've talked about to us is, how do I make sure that I can be most productive and efficient with the employees that I have while expanding my revenue models and opportunities?
Now, there might be some misunderstandings. I mean, Intel, Edge, you've got the MCUs. What are the decisions between, there's a difference between where you sit and where the MCUs sit. MCUs sit right on the Edge node, whereas you're doing a lot more of the heavy processing.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes we do make the distinction between what we would call an edge device or edge sensor and really something like what we would call the more intelligent edge of what we're doing. And so our journey has really been about virtualizing the edge, and so taking things that are physical and turning them into more virtual machines that are based on software, much more reliable and also better in terms of TCO and operational efficiency.
Okay.
And so we tend to think of ourselves as focusing on deployments that really need x86 class compute while staying in lower power, lower cost envelope with things like our Atom processors, as well as our Core, and now our Core Ultra processors.
Now, last question,
Yes.
What excites you? You've been at Intel, 18 plus years?
Yes.
Pretty much almost all your career, but what is it that excites you today? Because I think there's a lot going on right now in the industry.
Yeah, I think, I feel like, and I've been in sort of IoT or edge or adjacent businesses for a very long time, and there was always this idea, but we never really had a name for it, and we could never quite put our finger on exactly what it was, right? It was things like, I remember working on a smart fish finder. I remember working on smart agriculture where you would have RFID tags on each one of your cattle, for example.
Big in Brazil, by the way.
Yes. Important use cases, right? And oftentimes we are the processing that goes into the back end of that where everything gets aggregated.
Yeah.
But we never really saw the moment for AI that now everybody else is sort of seeing, right? And so, we were in the computer vision industry. We launched OpenVINO, which is our AI runtime software and environment back in 2018. So we've certainly been participating in AI and computer vision, but I think the ChatGPT moment and this AI era that came about excites me because we're integrating a lot of these kind of cloud technologies into more traditional edge
Yeah.
form factors
Yeah.
on the device itself.
Right.
And it kind of feels like a culmination of all this work we were doing on smart devices or IoT devices, finally coming together and going, oh, I understand now how you can deploy real solutions on this with AI. So
Well-
it's really exciting for me.
Well, a big moment. Mike, thank you very much.
All right, great.
Thank you.